Okay, so this video is about Moscow, but we have a challenge with Moscow because my lovely wife is from Moscow, and it's hard to really break it out like you would do it on a one-time tour. So we've decided to talk about things we love about Moscow. So in this video, we picked about 13 things, but this is, in our mind, probably going to be just the beginning. We're going to do more videos on Moscow. So we're going to start with things that are pretty obvious, and we're going to work to things that are more local and unique. So the first one that's obvious to me is
Red Square.
Red Square, but not just Red Square, because Red Square is beautiful. And by the way, I learned that red in Russian is beautiful, right? So it's not red for any other reason than it's beautiful. And the GUM.
GUM, yes, it's a big department store, historical building. It was built, I think, in the beginning of 19th century. And it's absolutely gorgeous. Now it has all sophisticated stores, but to me it's a very nice memory too, because this place provides the best ice cream ever.
That's where you went to have ice cream when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 2, the metro. Now the metro is very special because of its architecture, especially around the Circle Line. Many of the stations along there are all heritage sites protected by the UN because of the architecture, so I think that's very cool.
I would call it like, museum underground. They even do the tours. So this is not just subway we're using. This is something to enjoy on a daily basis.
Number 3, the Bolshoi Theater.
Well, Bolshoi is one of the best theaters in the world, that's for sure. And I'm sure that Russia is very famous in the world for its fantastic, high-quality Russian ballet. So this is the place to go. Absolutely.
Number 4, Arbat Street. Now this to me is very touristy, but I love it. First of all, it's a pedestrian way. You can walk. There's no cars. There's always, and especially in the summer, there's a lot of people. There's music in the street. There's souvenirs. It's just got a lot of energy, and it's a fun place.
Yes, it's a walking street, one of the oldest streets in Moscow, and you can find whatever you want there, including, fantastic musicians and really cool souvenir stores and really cool cafes and restaurants. I would even live in that street. I think it's full of energy.
I would live there too. Number 5, in a city full of parks, one stands out especially, and that's Gorky Park.
Yes, it's a huge park which provides a lot of entertainment. You can spend easily the whole day in it. It has a lot of restaurants, it has ponds, you can take a boat, you can walk, you can take dancing classes, you can do whatever you want.
It's a very active place. Think Central Park, but if it had more things to do.
I agree.
All right. I like taking the river tour. We've done this twice, and you get to get a real understanding of the city and the layout of the city and the architecture, and you go right by the Kremlin, and you get to see several of the Seven Sisters buildings, different theaters you point out to me. I just like taking the river tour. It's very relaxing.
It is. Yes, it takes only 1 hour and a half or maybe 2 hours, and you never want to stop. It's the best way to see downtown. And by the way, if you are in Gorky Park, you can probably take a river tour just from there. Easy.
Pushkin Art Museum, which is one of the great museums of the world, which is why it's on this list. We've been there several times, and we've seen some great stuff there.
Yes. They always run something really interesting. They have a lot of permanent exhibitions, and at the same time they have something, which would be going on for like 3 or 4 or 6 months. And last time we were there, we've seen in one room a lot of paintings made by Monet, Degas, Picasso. It was a collection of Shukin, very famous Russian
billionaire. You would be a billionaire today.
Well, maybe.
Rich man.
He was collecting this one. He was not super rich, but still, this is overwhelming. This is the place to go.
He was a rich dude who collected art before of people who are now famous, but they weren't even known then. All right, next one. This is one I insist to be on the list. It's really the last of the obvious ones that are out there, but you probably may not have put this on the list, but I did because I love aerospace museums, and I've been to a lot of them, including the Smithsonian. I've been to a lot of aerospace museums because my dad's a pilot, and we're both into space. The Space Museum in Moscow is, to me, really cool because it gives you a whole different point of view on the space race, and it takes you through the whole Russian experience of that race for the moon. And what I really do like about it is that they do a whole exhibit on the Apollo 11 mission and the American astronauts getting to the moon. So very cool place. I recommend it to anybody who's into aerospace. So number 9 is Tereskaya and a particular store on Tereskaya.
Yes, you absolutely have to go to Tverskaya Street because, first of all, this is the main street of Moscow. In 1960s, hipsters would be hanging out on that street and calling it Broadway, so that tells you something. It's absolutely gorgeous street. I would recommend to walk through it, starting from Mayakovsky metro station and right to Red Square. And absolutely, you have to stop by the store called Yeliseyevsky. Just have a coffee or a candy or buy something. This is absolutely gorgeous place. Looks like a palace, which happened to be a grocery store somehow.
Number 10 is Patriarch Ponds.
Patriarchy Ponds, yes, that's where my favorite book starts, Master and Margarita by Bulgakov. So to me, it's not just a place, it's absolutely an emotional spot.
Well, I'll say two things about that. One is Master and Margarita, in the beginning of that book in particular, was the inspiration for Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. So very cool there. And the other very cool thing was it was one of the first places you took me on our first day together before you knew we were dating.
Sure.
Number 11 is converted Soviet factories.
Well, this is very cool. I mean, factories in the city are now closed, and now they happen to be lofts or galleries or restaurants or, I don't know, like art schools. Even British School of Design is located there. I'm taking classes in one of them. I'm learning how to paint. And when you show up there, even before your lesson, you're not even inside of the audience yet, but you already feel like a part of that. This is very cool.
It's very fun because they found a really good use for these old factories. Number 12 is food courts. And I'm going to be careful about what I'm saying here because when I say food court, I'm not talking about something you find in a mall in the United States. I'm talking something that's more similar to hawker centers in Asia, where each of the stands focuses on a type of food and doing it very, very well. And there are two in particular we went to recently.
Yeah, actually there are a lot of them, but my favorite ones would be Street. Street is like tiny little one with a lot of choice though, and like kind of cozy. You can grab Vietnamese pho for less than $6 or $7. Absolutely fantastic. And another one would be more sophisticated and bigger, and it's called Depot. And the name comes from actual depot. Used to be tram depot before, and it has a lot of choice and has a lot of stores and has a lot of restaurants. In one of my favorite ones, which would be serving crabs from Kamchatka, and for a very reasonable price. This is another place to visit.
And the last one for this video is a market. We love markets, so we put a market on here. This is a very cool market.
Its name is Danilovsky Market. Of course, Moscow has much more than just one, but this happened to be my favorite one. It's located, it's located downtown. It's kind of circle, and it has a lot of choices.
It has everything.
It has absolutely everything. Yeah, I would never go to the store. I would go to this market to shop.
And it's a market where the nice thing is it is in a circle, so when you're done, you're right where you started.
Yep, which makes it even easier.
So that's our first video on things we love about Moscow. Guaranteed there's going to be more videos because we're just scratching the surface now. But thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.